What is up, Las Vegas, PTBI? Miss you guys already. Hope you got some value out of the class on Sunday and the rest of the weekend. Obviously, I know I did. So here's the daily mobility routine for you guys. So what we're first going to do is we're going to start in a crisscross applesauce and use this kind of like a grocery store approach. You know, come in, do the exercises, take what you need, what you really get value out of, and prescribe them to your clients or to yourself as well. So what we're first going to do is crisscross applesauce, cross our legs, and we're going to have one arm behind our back, and we're going to put it up against our spine to help support us, keep us a nice straight back, because you don't want to do this out where you're hunched over. So with your hand down and fingers faced away, you're going to take your other arm, cross it over your thigh, and then you're going to sync your breath up with this. And so what you're going to do in this nice supported stance is take a big breath in through your nose, and then as you exhale with your mouth, push a little further. And then when you get to this point where you have to take an inhale, you want to hold this position, and then exhale, push a little more. And you may find to your max amount, that's okay, just learn to breathe it. So you're going to do 5 breaths on each side, nice, big, long, deep breaths, and exhale. 5 breaths, and then when you're done with that, go ahead and switch sides and take that other arm, put it behind you, support that spine, cross the other hand over the thigh, and of course take a big inhale through your nose, and exhale, push. Might have some cracks, might have some pops. You may need to readjust your hand too, maybe it's not supporting you quite as much. But again, take a big inhale and hold. Try and keep yourself from coming back when you inhale. Like this, try and just hold your position, exhale, push, okay? 5 deep breaths each side. And we're gonna stay, same crisscross applesauce. You can cross your legs over too, switch them. It's good to do that. You don't have to do it each time, but I'd recommend just switching every day, just so you get the good variety. Now what we're gonna do is cross-legged forward fold. So this one, with your legs crossed, we're just gonna attempt, this is where we wanna go for, to get our head to the ground. Now, I certainly wasn't there when I first began, so we're gonna have a few progressions to get there. And the way that we're gonna sync it up too, is you're gonna take a big inhale, sync it up with our breath, and as you exhale, allow the diaphragm compressing to pull you down even closer to the ground. So the progressions are as follows. We're gonna have 2 thumbs up, stacked on top of each other. Just get your forehead on it. And then as you inhale and exhale, you can remove 1 thumb. Now, if you're ready to go all the way down further, you can skip a ton of these progressions, but this is what I had to follow to get all the way down. Then with 1 thumbs up, 1 fist. Then with the next exhale, we just do 2 fists. And then from there, we do a fist and a flat hand. Then from there, just 1 fist. And this is where you might need, it will get a little tight, a little harder. So then from 1 fist, we'll do 2 flat hands. Inhale, exhale, come down further. Just 1 flat hand. Then inhale, exhale, come on down. Now don't push it. Just take your time getting there. And also, it's likely that your back will feel itchy. That's just your skin breaking apart, the fascia in your skin starting to break apart. It will go away, but it'll probably be there for a couple of weeks. If your back gets itchy during this, it is a positive sign, so don't quit. So next up, we're gonna do ankle rotations. So sitting up straight, you have a couple variations. You can cross one leg over here, or you can have the other leg straight. You're gonna bring this other foot, other ankle over this thigh. You're gonna grab with your hand, lock it into place, then hold onto your toes with the other ankle, and you do 10 rotations in one direction, and then you're going to do 10 in the other direction. And really work, don't try and rush through this, really work on building that relationship and going nice and slow. It's about gaining a new range of motion and prepping your ankles. It's not about getting done the fastest. That's really not the reality, not what you're going for. So after your 10 rotations, go 10 the other side. And take your time, again, making sure that you're holding down with this hand so that your ankle isn't sliding around everywhere, because you're not really going to get any genuine ankle rotations when that happens. And then also double check you're not grabbing the middle of your foot. You want to be grabbing the end so you get the most torque and get the best ankle rotations out of that one. Okay, so 10 on that side, and then you're gonna, or 10 one direction that side, 10 the other direction. Then you're gonna switch legs, and of course, you're gonna do 10 one direction, on the other ankle, and then after that, switch it up. And you may have some cracks and some pops, and if your ankle can't go that far, it's okay. A lot of this stuff is just really showing you what you need to work on. So when that happens, just go with the level that you're currently at, and then over time, you'll get more range of motion, and you can go further and further out. So, cool. Next up, ankles nice and warm, we're going to do seated deep knee flexion. So what you're gonna do is you're just gonna sit on your ankles and your thighs, and you're just gonna get our knees into a nice deep flexion position, and you're just gonna sit here and hold this for 1 minute and just enjoy it. And another thing you can do is if this is a bit too tough on your knees, you can take a towel and come on up and fold it into your knee pits and then sit down in that. What that'll do is it'll pull the knee apart, create a lot of really nice space, and it's a really good stretch, and then eventually you want to progress to the point where you no longer need the towel. So if you have any clients that do this, or you prescribe it to them and they say that it bothers their knees, tell them to tuck a towel in between their knee pits. So just sit here for a minute and enjoy that. After that minute's up, what we're going to do is we're going to do seated 90-90. So all you're going to do is sit on the ground and make sure that your feet are far enough apart, because one knee is going to come and touch the ground. You want to create enough space for it to be able to do so. So with that in mind, just drop your knees to the side, side to side. And then as a little bonus stretch, what you can do is when you bring this knee up, you don't have to raise this other one right away. You can actually wait until you've reached your full range of motion and then bring this other knee up. You get this really nice bonus stretch in there as well. So after 5 of those, all you're gonna do is lay on the ground, and what you're gonna do is seated 90-90. Now this internal rotating leg is not gonna be able to touch the ground, at least not without some assistance, so you don't need to worry as much about your feet being super far apart. They can be close during this. So 5 each side on that direction. Lying down. Then from there, we're gonna do lying crescent kicks. So, a little limited in space, so you're gonna have to bear with me here. What you're gonna do is on your back with both arms out to your side. You're going to then keep one leg straight, raise your leg up, out to the side, and do nice big hip circles. And you just want to go to the side and then back up. You don't necessarily need to come across, just go to the side and come back up and do 5 one direction and 5 the other direction. Now, it's a very common thing that I see among a lot of people is they have really limited range of motion this, and it can be painful if you go try to do too much range of motion than what you're actually ready for. So people say, oh, it hurts when I do this. Well, just reduce the range of motion. Go as far as you can, and then over time, you're gonna earn a larger and greater range of motion. I can tell you this was extremely hard when I first started, and now it's just a normal part of my routine because I do it often enough. So 10 rotations each leg, 5 in one direction, 5 the other, switch legs, 10 the other leg. Okay, and then after that, we're gonna come on the ground and we're gonna do the scorpion stretch. So, on our chest with our arms flat out to our side, what we're gonna do then is pretend like I'm a scorpion, and if this is my right hand, my left leg is gonna be the stinger, my left toes. So I'm going to try and come up and over and sting the prey as if that was my stinger and come back to the side. And so it may be too hard for you to come up and over. So if that's the case, then just try and go over for now and stay low. And then over time, what you can do is when you come over, you can try and go up and back and just explore this new range of motion the more often that you do it. So let's say 5 to 10 each side. You can do more if it feels really good, of course, but 5 to 10 per day should do it. So next up, we're gonna be in a resting squat position. So what we're gonna do here is resting squat to hamstring stretch. So with this, we're gonna put our hands on the ground, and then what you're gonna do is keeping your palms flat on the ground, you're going to stand up and look between your legs and then come on back down to a full resting squat position. You don't wanna come and cheat yourself where you come up and you only do like half of the range, you want to come back all the way down to a full resting squat. So give your body a chance to learn how to enter and exit this position completely and then go all the way up. And so if you stand up and your palms are coming off the ground, that means you're too far, okay? Now you can still do that. It's totally okay if you do that, excuse me, and your palms are coming off the ground, but ideally you want to aim for eventually keeping your palms completely flat and lengthening your legs completely straight for 10 full reps, and it's going to feel really nice. So after 10 of those, now we're going to do is resting squat to internal hip rotation. So with this, we're going to take a fold over the inside arch of our foot, tap the inside part of our knee, and keep both heels on the ground. That's the goal. If you don't have it, it's okay. So you're going to fold over, tap the inside part of the knee, and come to the other side. And so if you do this, and you note, and just 5 each side, if you do this and you notice this heel is coming up, that's okay. It just means you need to earn the range of motion. So what you can do is after you've tapped the inside part of this knee, try and bring this heel down, come back up, and stand up. There's not stand up, but come back to the top. Same with this side, tap the heel, come up, cool. And if this is also too hard, you can hold on to something like a pole as you do this in order to help and, with assistance. So next up is we're going to do resting squat to knee over toe. So the toes point the direction of where you want the knee to go. So with that in mind, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my knee over my toe, pointing the same direction the toes are pointing, tap the ground, and come back. Very common thing here is you'll come out and then internally rotate and think that you had the move, but you don't. Just means you haven't earned it yet. So what you can do is you can use your hands for assistance. A couple things. You can use your hands for assistance to help you go up. Try and use them for assistance, not the whole thing where you're using your hands the entire time. Just as much as you need. And then once you don't need your hands anymore, you can use your own body weight as a counterweight. So if you observe, what I'm going to do is I'm going to lean back. I'm going to hold my hands up here behind my head so that I have this nice counterweight, and then come up and do that. And you also may find that when you come out, you're like, I'm good, I have this, and then, you just drop. That's okay. Just do your best to control the eccentric as slow as you can, and you might not be able to come up yet, but over time, you'll get it, and you'll earn it. 5 each side. And then next up, we're going to do is some wrist prep. So this is a nice full one to follow along. Really great before your big days, big bench pressing days, especially with all that weight pressed down on your wrists or any back days. So you're going to be on all fours, and what we're going to do is you're going to lean your body weight over one wrist, and then what you're going to do is you're going to go in 5 directions on one side, so 5 all the way. You may feel some clicking, some popping, just as long as it's not painful. Make sure that you're putting weight on this wrist as well, and then after your 5, go the other direction as well. And so just enjoy that. You may find that one wrist is feeling better than the other. Maybe one wrist wants twice as many reps as the other. Do twice as many reps on that side. Perfectly okay. So after 10 total rotations, 5 each direction on that side, we're going to go and obviously do our 5 and 5 on the other direction, or excuse me, on the other wrist as well. And then after those 5, after those 10, when we're done 5 each direction, now what we're going to do is take our hands, put them together, fingers pointed towards us, and try to press our palms on the ground. And then from there, and you can start forward, leaning really far forward so you can find the position. Then from there, you're just going to sit back and hold this position for 10 to 15 seconds so you feel this nice stretch. And just sit there. And you may find that your wrists are coming up, or excuse me, your palms are coming up. It's okay, just means you haven't earned the wrist flexibility yet. It takes time. And I say earned because nobody's born with it. You have to actually earn it. So next up, what we're going to do is take our wrist, our hand palm face up, fingers facing out, drag it in front of our knee, get everything stacked over the top, wrist, elbow, shoulder stacked on top of each other with some pressure placed into it. So I'm going to push down to this wrist. You're going to open and close your palm 10 times. And really enjoy that. Go slow with this. This is not a race, okay? Nice and slow. Go slow with this so you can go hard with the actual lifts that healthy, strong wrists are going to help you with. Then after that, after 10 on that side, go ahead and switch sides and do 10 on that direction, of course, after that as well. And then from there, after you have 10 and 10, now what we're gonna do is take our thumbs, tuck them into our palms, turn our hands out so our palms are facing us, and then press down into the ground, arms out to the side. And then when I'm pushing down to the ground, I'm gonna drag my wrists in until I feel that stretch. Now for me, I can come all the way in because I've done this enough. For some of you, it might be all the way out here and you're already feeling it. So just enjoy that. And hold that for about 10 to 15 seconds. A really common mistake that I see is people going on the top of their hands. So make sure that you're on the side when you do this. So hold that for about 10 to 15 seconds. Then next up, going to be an assisted push-up position, and what you're going to do is you're going to flip one hand over so palms are facing you, and you're just going to put some pressure on there and hold it for about 10 to 15 seconds. If this doesn't feel intense enough for you, you can come into a full push-up position, hold that 10 to 15 seconds each side, and then go to the other side. And when it comes to joints, when I say if this isn't intense enough for you, when it comes to joints, if you want to have a strong, healthy joints that last you in the long run, you need to leave your ego aside, okay? Because we've all had joints that hurt, that are achy, and it's really important that you take your time in building strength there. It takes a while, and you need to allow the proper time for those adaptations to occur, so you can have long, healthy joints. It's going to keep you feeling young for a long time. So, okay, next up, need a little elevation, maybe a chair. For this next one, this is called seated spinal twists. So all you're going to do, sit on a box or a chair, and you're going to take your feet, knees, put them together. And what I'm going to do, similar to the cross-legged twist, is I'm going to reach across this thigh with my tricep, and I'm going to straighten my arm. And then with this, with an exhale, I'm going to sink my breath of it. I'm going to inhale and exhale, reach up and behind me while pushing away with this arm. And then just like before, try to keep your feet and your knees together. Just like before, when we inhale, try not to come back. Try to just hold it and exhale, push even further. And hold that for 5 breaths. If this is too intense for you, you can take your hands and push them together and push off of your hand instead of actually just the thigh here. You can kind of do both. So that's a good little regression for you. And then over time, as you open up, you can then start straightening maybe one arm and then the second one. So do 5 each side, sinking your breath up. I'm going to do it the other side because that felt really good. And then remember, take that big inhale. Exhale, push. Oh, that feels great today. Even the basic ones, especially the basic ones, need to be repeated frequently and often. So another big inhale with your nose, and exhale, push even further. Good. Definitely doing that after this is done. So then what we're going to do is cervical rotations. Now these ones I recommend you do standing just for the sake of my photography setup. I'm going to do these sitting. So what you want to do is if you're standing, you want to make sure that your neck and shoulders and traps are relaxed. Okay? You don't want to be tensing and pulling and tightening it up. A lot of us carry a lot of tension and stress in our shoulders or our neck, so this is a good time to relieve some of that. So with relaxed, gentle shoulders, again, make sure you're standing in this. You're going to drop your head down to the ground and close your eyes and tune in with your neck. And then give me nice, slow, big cervical rotations. This especially is not a race. This is something that you want to pause and go slow on and take your time with. Really, really important that you do this. So you're going to do 10 each direction. And so, some of you may be encountering what I call speed bumps. What is that? That means when you go around and you do a cervical rotation, you're like you don't quite have the full range of motion. You kind of need to speed bump over it in order to continue your circle. So what I like to do when I find a speed bump, let's say I turn and I come right here and I kind of have to navigate with my way over it and then go all the way around, and I can't quite get that full range of motion. Every time I come back, I have the speed bump I kind of have to go over. What I'll do is I'll actually approach it from the other side, go the other direction, and I'll see how much of that range of motion I can access when I approach from this angle. And then I'll retest and come all the way back around from the other side and see, and more than likely I'll have been able to massage some of that range of motion back into my life, and I'll come back the other way around and I'll have a little bit further that I can get in there and start massaging that range of motion back in, and before you know it, you will have greater range of motion. The speed bump will be smaller, most likely won't be completely gone, but do it often enough and you will notice some significant improvement. So the next and last one is going to be the horse stance squat. So the way we get into position with this is we're going to have our legs, our feet wider than hip distance. Try and turn your feet out, and then pulling your hips back, your legs back. You're going to drop and sit. Send your hips forward, legs back, and drop and sit. And you're going to want to hold this for at least a minute. Ideally, you want to get up to about 2 minutes of just sitting here where it's not excruciatingly painful, and this is just body weight. This is called a horse stance. Just get really strong. Make sure that you're not hunching forward as you do it. It may happen as you get more fatigued. So what you do is get that chest up nice and straight. Don't arch the lower back. Just keep that back nice and straight. Send the hips forward and come down as far as you can. And if you can't hold it for too long, then you can start doing reps. Try to go for 20, but work your way up to at least a minute. Ideally, if you can get to 2 minutes, then you're going to be in a solid position. And make sure you're always pulling these legs back, whether it's with your hands or just on their own. So hope you enjoyed the daily mobility. Have a great day.